Happy month of May. It is Stroke and Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm glad those both are in combination because after going through a stroke, it is a complete roller coaster of emotions. When you have your stroke and you're in the hospital, you're pretty much in kind of battle zone, and you're not processing things. You might think you're processing emotionally, but you're not really. It's not until you're sent home and you don't have that backup of, nurses and, medications and a doctor. Like, you don't have that safety net anymore. Like, you are home, and it is scary. And so you're recovering, and when you're recovering, well, guess what happens? You have a lot of time to think. And when you do, all of these emotions just start pouring out because, emotions are the genetic makeup of how we perceive life. So I always like to use examples of trying to explain to people who may not understand, how I'm feeling, because, emotions vary from person to person depending on what you've gone through. For people who've gone through medical trauma, almost died, experienced something very traumatic, loss of someone very close, or even something that's life-altering, it's different than someone who's just living their day-to-day and experiencing normal, emotions and their own mental health. It's very different. So I want to say that, in the beginning, after my first brain surgery, I like to think that my body was like a gas tank. And when I got home, I felt like I was on full, because, my surgery's done. I felt great, for everything that I've gone through, after spending so many days in the ICU, it just felt so good to be home. And, I wasn't really in a lot of pain. I was with, I just in the comfort of my home. So my gas tank felt full. And because of that, I felt like, I am going to seize the day. I'm going to do all this stuff. And that's what happens. When you fill up your tank, you feel like you can get out and do more things. So, and then, after a little bit of time, all of a sudden felt like my gas tank started getting empty. And I'm like, what's going on here? And you start getting nervous and you start getting flustered, and, you just start going through all of these emotions of being frustrated, sad, angry, and then joy again, and you don't understand. It's like, what's going on? I'm flip-flopping. It almost feels like you're bipolar, but you're not bipolar. And as my gas tank was getting empty, that was an indication that I had to get a second brain surgery for my VP shunt. So I was just like, wow, this is it. So after that, I didn't feel like I could fill up my gas tank because I that second surgery really did a number on me. Like, and you would think the first surgery would have done a number on me to, you know, go back and think about it and think about the beginning of the whole journey of falling, the snap in the back of my head, calling 911, screaming in the hospital for a CT scan, you know, getting there, telling me that like blood is like coursing all through my brain, and asking them, is this life threatening, as they're wheeling me to transport me, and they're like, yes, and blanking out, waking up with a tube, you know, and finding out I had a ruptured aneurysm, 11-hour surgery, being there forever. You think that would have scarred me, and it didn't. I struggled in the hospital, of course, because it's not comfortable being in a hospital by any means. I mean, there's zero privacy. I mean, you have your own room, but you know, you have nurses checking on you constantly. You're doing your neuro deficit tests, and my God, I was so sick and tired of making a box. You know, like, and I had everything memorized, what they were going to ask me. And then I did have a smart nurse that did change it up on me. I was like, gosh darn it, you made me think. But that was good. So, anyways, it was like, I don't know. And here's the strange thing. Like, when I got discharged, we met that day with a realtor to potentially, you know, start looking at buying homes. That's how much my gas tank was filled up, that I was like, yep, here's my scars. I'm bald. I just got released from the hospital, and here I am. You know, what do we need to do to get a house? And so that just shows like how, you know, pumped up I was, and how like I was perceiving life, like, you know, this is great. And you know, and then that second surgery was a total nightmare. It, because I was aware of what was going to happen, rather than, you know, because I was more cognizant, I got nervous. And so it felt like I was playing ping pong during the time. So it was like my emotions were a ball, and I kept on hitting it, trying to hit it out, and it came right back. And I kept on trying to hit it out, and it came right back. And I was just like, I cannot believe I'm going through another surgery. Like, I'm just have been, like, I battled so much with my emotions over this, the whole ordeal. And I've said it in other video blogs. This was at the, you know, beginning stages of COVID becoming, you know, coming into our state. So it just was depressing overall. And, you know, the surgery went longer, and the recovery was absolutely excruciating. I would rather have the 11-hour brain surgery over the VP shunt that was inserted. I would rather have a broken leg, a broken whatever. I am telling you, I was not prepared. And it's different for everyone, because I've read forums where people were like, it was nothing. For me, I guess it was just a little more difficult, just because at the time I was more thin. So it's just like trying to get like the tubing down right and everything. So, and, you know, I gotta tell you, like, I just, you know, it was like, I remember coming out of that surgery, or when I was awake and I was in pain, and they kept on pumping me full of drugs, and I thought I was gonna die, actually, from all the drugs they were giving me. And I don't know, it just didn't feel right. And I was right, because the doctor the next day was like, no, you shouldn't be on all these meds. So after that, I started feeling better. So, get home, I'm back to some kind of hope, and I'm recovering. I'm pretty miserable. There's no support groups open because there's a pandemic. I feel alone. I'm struggling like no other, of trying to figure out like, what is there any forums I can go to. I found some, but they were just actually making me feel more depressed than what I wanted, and it wasn't giving me what I needed. And my saving grace was Instagram. And like I've said, I never thought Instagram would be a place where you would connect with so many people that are in your same situation. And it's different because it's like you're watching people advance or talk about like what they're going through. And so it's just a different way, where I think Facebook, it's more like, hey, I'm going through XYZ, what do I do? And I've echoed this several times. It is very inappropriate to ask for medical advice on, a Facebook forum. That's dangerous territory, and I'm surprised the moderators didn't do anything about that. Like, you can't give medical advice. So, I mean, you can say, if you're experiencing the same thing as that person, you can say, hey, I went through the same thing. I suggest you go see a physician. Don't elaborate on what your outcome was, but say, I suggest you see someone. And I do that all the time. I always say, anything that I'm saying, this is my personal journey. This is not going to be the same one size fits all for every single person. So I always tell people to seek out professional help, because I'm not a professional. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, I'm none of those. All I am is I am a product of what emotions look like from a stroke survivor, and that's all I can say. So I have processed a lot of things. I have figured a lot of things out. I, have suggestions, to help if you feel like, you're pretty okay, and you just need like a little boost or something. Take those recommendations. But again, I will say, seek professional help. I do. I put into practice everything that I'm about ready to tell you guys, but I still seek professional help because I'm aware that this is something that I can't just take on my own as much as I want to. I can't. And this is completely normal. You are not, I would say it's abnormal if you're not going through a wide range of emotions, and you might have it in check in the very beginning, and sometimes it can take a year before it hits you, but it will hit you. It will be a crash, and it's not healthy. You have to you have to process everything. I mean, it's just, I cannot emphasize enough. You have to process everything. But like I said, I think the point of Mental Health Awareness Month is to make people feel like you are powerful by seeking mental health. You are taking power back. When you are feeling emotionally unstable, you feel like you're powerless. And if you get help and try to fix that and seek mental health, you're taking back that power. So that way, you're learning skills to be like, no, this is not going to happen. So that's the point. It shouldn't be taboo. It's there to empower you. Even if like you haven't gone through something traumatic, it's always good to do a mental health, self-check gauge on yourself, and what is nourishing me and what is not. Like, are there things in my life that I can cut out or add? It's taking inventory and process of elimination, and then adding things in. And life is not gonna be a straight path. There's so many different paths. And your support group, your friends or whoever, that changes in time. As you age, you will find that groups of friends, it changes. And there's some people you got that are there for life, and then but so your support group kind of changes, so it's good to find something that's more stable, and that would be a professional. So I'm lucky that I can say that I have a husband who is very supportive, and he gives me a lot of stability, and I feel that I can vocalize how I feel without being judged. And I feel like I get really good feedback from him, where it's like, I heavily rely on my mom almost daily. Before it was emotional, but now we're, now that I'm getting better, now we're back to just chit chat, like we used to. But I leaned on her big time. I mean, she was my babysitter for, quite some time, because at the time my husband was working. Even through the pandemic, he had to actually go to work. So my mom would come over and babysit me, but let's face it, we both enjoyed it. So it was good emotional support. And then, I've got my friends and so forth, but, I also knew that, I need that professional help, because I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. So I can't handle that on my own. I don't know what to do with that. It's still a work in process. Like, I don't know how you even get through that. So it's questionable. I'm working on it, but I'm not going to give up. So there may be certain areas in your life where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm trying, and I'm not making any kind of breakthrough. Don't give up. It will come. It will come. Trust me, it will.